Average at Best Cornhole here. Now I'm going to apologize ahead of time. This intro is going to be a little bit longer than normal, but I promise I will get to the bags. When Titan said that they were releasing a herringbone bag for the 2025 stamp season, everyone got excited because of the popularity from the Dart from the 2024 season. Problem is, Titan changed their fill, which then completely changed the bags, especially the darts, because people were used to the 2024 darts. And then the Sonars ended up pretty much being the same way the new darts were. Well, Titan listened to their customers, they listened to the pros, they changed their fill back, and I have a set of the new fill bags for the 2025 stamp season, and I'm primarily going to be talking about these ones because they are completely different than the old new fill bags. And now these 2025 darts are a lot more similar to the 2024 darts. And hopefully you can see this, but I'll stack all the bags up on each other. This is the new fill. That's the old fill. You should be able to immediately see how much thicker the new bags are, and also the templates shrunk a little bit from the outside bags. But since I'm not going to be talking about these ones, I'm going to get them out of the way. I'm going to start off with speeds, and Titan lists the darts at a 5.8 and the Sonars as a 4.8. Now they do share the same fast side, so that's why they're both an 8. And I don't necessarily hate the 4 speed for the herringbone that Titan gives these Sonars, because we all know that you can really slow herringbone down. And for some reason, these Sonars, I don't know if it's a template or the fill, but they do play a little bit slower than most other herringbones I'm used to. Talk about materials, and the Dart does have a hybrid material. You can also find this on the Killshots Wolverine or the Brotherhood Guardian, but also when I explain this material, I always mention the Titan Dart as well. The fast side, like I said, it is the same for both the series, and I'm pretty sure Titan's the only one using this fast side. The Sonar then does have that herringbone, and like I said, for some reason with this template, it does play a little bit slower, so that's why I really like the 8-speed fabric for the fast side, because if it is playing a little too slow, then you just throw the fast side most of the time, and then flip it over when you want to set a block to, discourage your opponent or something. But the 8-speed fast side, it's still quick enough to run up the boards, but it's not overpowering me too quick, and it's not going to make you think you're going to fly off the back of the board every time. So the template on these darts isn't quite back to the 2024 stamped template, but it's close. I felt the 2024 stamp was like a medium to small template, and it was pretty thick. These ones are probably right in that medium template with a medium thickness. The Sonar, on the other hand, it does feel like that 2024 Dart template. I don't know if the herringbone didn't stretch as much. I do know that the bags weigh about the same, and they're actually a little bit heavier than nominal, which makes sense because once we get to the fill, they both primarily have a flat fill, which takes a lot more to add up enough weight, and that's why they're thick. And speaking of that fill, I'm almost positive both bags have the same fill to them, especially after this whole fill change thing that they did. It's primarily flats. It might be a mixture of flats and discs. Maybe a few filler beads in there or some oblongs or something. It plays great. It's a forgiving fill, which you're going to need because they are fuller bags. And as far as flop, the Sonar, they're not that floppy. And then these 2025 darts, I feel like they are getting floppier than the 2024 darts were. Don't always touch on bagmanship anymore, but I just want to say that I think with this new fill, Titan has fixed that dandruff issue that we were talking about last year, that people have noticed the little white flakes that are left on the board as you're playing. Moving on to the slide up, and I'm going to start with a highlight and a low light of each one of these series. And the Dart, I think the highlight is that this bag is pretty much capable of anything. With the template on it, it still is unique. I know I said it's not as small as the 2024 stamped one, but with the fullness, you really can cut and roll and do whatever you want with these bags and run holes with them if that's what you want to do. The only low light is this template is unique, and it might take some getting used to. People that aren't used to that template might not like it at first, and they might struggle. And the Sonars, I was surprised at how active this bag was, but yet still forgiving. And the most surprising part about it is you normally don't have a forgiving bag in this template. Now, I'm not saying this is the most forgiving bag ever. It is herringbone. It does have a smaller, fuller template, so it will kick on you if you're not careful, but it was surprising that it didn't kick as much as I would have thought it would. And the downfall of the bag is how much slower it is. And I don't know why. I can't explain why it's slower than a lot of other herringbone bags. Now, that might not be an issue to most people, but I kind of struggle to throw a slow bag. The only good thing about it is it makes me throw harder, which you are supposed to throw a little bit harder. So I fix the slowness with throwing harder, and then my accuracy gets off a little bit. Forgiveness is not the first word I would use to describe either one of these series, but the Dart definitely is going to be a little bit more forgiving than the Sonar. It is still a fuller bag, but it does have that flat fill, and it does have the hybrid material on it. So it is going to be more forgiving, but it is also an active bag in its own right. So therefore, you could experience some kicks. The Sonar, like I did state, I was surprised that it didn't kick as much as I thought it would, but this is not a forgiving first bag. When it comes to whole bodiness, I did not experience any unexpected drip from the Sonar. It is a herringbone bag. It does have flat fill, so it's going to tend to settle and maybe hang up on you. The good thing is it is a smaller template, so it is going to be easier to get in the hole because there's a lot less bag there to put in the hole. The Dart, on the other hand, the whole bodiness is pretty good with the Dart, especially with that hybrid material. Now, it does have that flat fill too, so it could hang up on you. But since it's not as slow as the Sonar, and it does have a little bit more flop, the chances of it catching a corner when it goes by the hole, if you're off your target a little bit, are greater than what it would be with the Sonar that doesn't have that flop and flex. I will say that both these series are very collectible. I don't feel like any bag that's on the board that's remotely still close to that hole is off target for it. And they both had their advantages for collecting. The Dart, since it is, a tiny bit larger, you didn't have to be so on target with it as the Sonar, because it is a little bit smaller. You really had to be on target to get your collect, but it was fuller, and it did seem to grab each other just a little bit better than what the Dart did, especially if there was a bag off to the side. This bag is full enough. You can come in, hit it, spin it around a couple times, and if you have a few bags, you could pull that into the hole. Talking about playability, and I'm going to start with the Sonars, and they are definitely your dirty bag or dirty style game bag for sure. With the slower speeds, with that fullness, with the ability to cut and roll and do whatever you want with this bag, it's definitely going to be a defensive dirty bag. You lay the blockers, you beat your own blockers, and then come there at the end and clean up your blocker, or leave it if you can get around it every time. The Dart, on the other hand, I feel that it's more like an offensive dirty style game, because you still can cut and roll, but I think you're primarily going to want to run holes with it, and you're going to use those fancy shots to get over your opponent's blocker as you're going to the hole. But I will say also, the Sonar was good at running holes. Even though it was a little bit slower, especially if you had some fast boards or whatnot, this bag would be perfect for that. You can find Titan Cornhole at titancornholebags.com. They do have an official Facebook page, which is at Titan Bags, and they do have an official fan page, which is at Titan Cornhole Fans. As far as designs, Titan does have all their stock designs. It has their Beast on there. They also have limited designs like these Jordan Power editions. And then they have all their broadcast designs, which I think I'm kind of a fan of the basic broadcast design. Funny thing about these Jordan Power darts is that he just won his first Open ever throwing the Sonars. And I do think after playing both of these bags, the Sonar might become a little bit more popular than the Dart is. Going to touch on cost. Both these series run $99.99. There is discount codes available. If you find their pros, they all have their own discount code. And I will say Titan does run sales all the time. Pretty much any holiday or special occasions, So follow that Facebook page because that's where you will see their sales coming up. And finally, I just want to say kudos to Titan. They changed their fill to fix something. It wasn't good. It didn't make a fix. It actually upset people even more. So they actually went out and found a new fill and changed it again to please their customers and their pros. Now the Dart, I mean, it is the Dart. It's still a great bag. It's not quite what it was in 2024, but the Sonars, like I started at the beginning, it does seem like that Dart from the 2024, just a herringbone, slower version of it. And this bag is going to be unstoppable because the capabilities are endless with it, with how easy it cuts and rolls and flops and does whatever you want to do with it. If you want to be average at something, be average at cornhole.